Don't you feel kind of cool right now?
No, I mean, not really.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Comedy Club Confessions.
We're already in?
We're in right now. We're in. Why are you gonna make a call?
I was just playing solitaire, dude.
Playing solitaire. Okay, we'll play later. Damn, you are old. Solitaire.
Yeah, man.
Comedy Club Confessions. My guest today is the very funny, talented Jason Collings. Collings or Collins?
Collings.
Collings. Okay.
You knew that.
I knew that, but they don't know that.
Yeah,
Everyone, how many flowers do they mess up your name?
All the time,
Yeah.
especially you guys.
Yeah.
No, it's INGS.
INGS.
People got it now. People are not really messing it up anymore these
But
days.
in the beginning, it was pretty bad.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Yep, all my life.
All your life.
Playing sports, I would always get the jersey. The G wasn't there.
Okay, you are a twin though too. So did you guys always play in sports together?
Mm-hmm.
Every time.
Every time.
How was that growing up?
It was awesome because you didn't have to go anything. You didn't have to go into anything alone.
Okay.
You know how intimidating it can be when you're like your first time going on the football team.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
Going to the little league tryouts and you're by yourself and like I was never by myself.
Oh, okay.
I always had a best friend and a partner to do.
Who was the better athlete?
Me.
Yeah. How did he take that?
It wasn't because here's what we didn't know why until we were like 18 or 19. He couldn't run. There was all this stuff that he couldn't do, like as well as me.
Uh-huh.
Well, it turns out he's born with his kneecaps were out to the side.
Oh,
so he had to have corrective surgery on both knees to center his kneecaps, and then he was able to do everything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So technically he is better.
He was a better martial artist for sure.
Yeah.
Because we
both
we did that
martial arts too.
Oh, since we were 12 years old, but he excelled at that more than I did.
Okay, so martial arts, and you did what for a living up until when? Before you did comedy, what were you doing for a living?
Martial arts.
Just martial arts.
Yeah, I've never had a real job.
That's amazing. Your
Yeah.
whole life?
Whole life.
That is great.
When I was 18, I signed a record deal to produce hip hop music.
Really?
You didn't know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah, 19 years old.
No way.
18 or 19. Yeah.
You didn't even know.
Did that. You don't even know. Did that for a while. Then I had another kid, and I had to put real money on the table, and the food on the table, and money in the bank. So I opened a martial arts school with my brother and my dad.
Were you already
And
like
you know that?
Yeah, I knew that
story.
already. I knew that story.
But you know that feeling of opening a business with
With
family.
your father was the worst idea ever.
It was
Tough.
It's tough.
It's not your
because
business. It's your father's business.
Yes, and it's two different generations, and you're trying to tell them how they should be doing it now, and they're like, "The hell do you know? We've been doing this all our lives."
Yeah.
Dude, I went through all of that, man. I remember the biggest argument I got in with my father is when I said we got to get a credit card machine because we opened in '92.
Yeah.
And we were just doing checks. All those students were paying with checks.
Yeah.
And now people were started to come in like, can I just play with this? And we're like, oh, we're not set up for that.
Yeah.
And so I said, Dad, it's cheap. And he's like, yeah, but they take the fees. And I'm
Yeah.
like, but more people will come if they could just, and
Yeah.
more people will spend the money on the spot
Yeah.
if they have their card with them. Because, people, when you give them the option to leave, they're going to leave.
They're gonna leave.
And
Yeah.
so.
Only think about it. Oh, okay. And they're not coming back.
Yeah. I don't have any checks on me. Like, oh, do debit.
How many times do you put something on hold and you're like, man, I never
Right.
come back. Yeah.
Right.
That's crazy. You know what's funny? When I'm thinking about your dad right now, I'm thinking about my father's voice.
Right. My dad with the accent?
Yeah, your dad.
That's so funny.
Well, I credit card machine.
How old is your dad?
My dad right now, he's between 62 and 65.
Okay. See,
I'm
my
not-
pops would have been 75 by now.
Yeah. I'm not sure about my dad. My mom and dad have been lying about their age since I was a kid. When my mom keeps telling me she's 40, I'm like, how the fuck am I catching up?
I know, that's so funny.
I'm 37. Oh my God, Jesus.
But that's how I put food on the table, doing that until
So you're a hustler.
I decided to start doing stand-up.
And you got started doing stand-up in a really interesting story.
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
So I was hanging out with a little-known comic. I don't know if you guys ever heard of this guy, Joe Coy.
Joe Coy.
You may have heard of him. He sold out the Forum a couple times.
Recently.
I was hanging out with
4
him before I was a
times.
comedian. I was hanging out with Russell Peters before I was a comedian. I was going to all the shows. And
But how did you hang out with him?
a buddy of mine that I grew up with ran a clothing line and a shoe line that sponsored Joe Coy.
Oh, okay.
Back when Joe was just hustling.
A buddy of yours had a clothing line.
And he was,
Okay.
you remember Dada?
Dada, yeah.
And then they did a shoe line.
on Adidas. Dada, Adidas, yeah.
No, Dada Supreme was the clothing line. The clothing line was East Coast based and the shoe line was West Coast based, but they were both under the same person named Damani Dada, and then a buddy of mine that I've known since I was like 7, 8 years old.
Yeah.
He was the designer for this company. And then my other friend that I've been best friends since we were like 12, he went to work for that guy. And then they built this company. And then one day you ever heard of the Magic Convention in Vegas? It's all the name brands and everything, Adidas, they all go to this big convention every year.
Yeah.
And my buddy's at this convention and they got their booth set up and this dude walks into the booth. He's like, my name's Joe Coy. I'm a local comic here in Vegas and I wear your stuff on stage.
And Joe Coy's, how long has he been doing comedy right now?
At that time?
5 years?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because he's at
like 20, 30. He's like
almost
30,
like 30
years. Yeah.
So he had been doing it for a bit, but he was hustling and he was running his own show in Vegas. He was like one of the first guys in Vegas to fly headliners out to do his room and stuff. And then so my buddy Carlos and him kind of connected and they became friends. And then this company, Dada Shoes, they did like Latrell Sprewell shoe, Chris Webber shoe back in the day. They decided to sponsor Joe, and they like sponsored his first DVDs and all that stuff.
Wow.
And so he had this friend who was a comedian, and he also knew from like we were kids, I was always cracking jokes, and I always loved comedy, and I wanted to do it. So he's like, "You got to meet my boy Joe," and we met at a barbecue at my buddy's house.
Wow, that's crazy.
From there, Joe Coy and I just literally was like. Followed him around everywhere. I went to his shows I went to all his shows with all his California shows, like Southern California. I went to all of them.
Irvine, Brea.
Dude, I was at the Laugh Factory every week.
Really?
Watching comedy.
That's crazy.
Watching comedy. And then one day Joe was like, man, you need to go to the Ha Ha. Because I was like, how do I start doing
Ha
this?
Comedy Club, guys. Ha Comedy Club. Yeah.
Not Cafe.
Wait, no, it was Ha Cafe back then.
It was, that's what it was. And
it's called Ha Ha, yeah.
It was at its own location. Ha Ha Comedy Club. And Joe was like, go there, do their open mic. And I'm like, sure. But I didn't want to do the open mic.
Because you hear nightmare stories about open mics. Right. Is that why you don't want to do it?
But no, because I didn't know about it. I didn't know anything.
You didn't know what an open mic was.
Didn't know what it was. didn't know any of that stuff. I just knew that what Joe was doing and what I was watching him do at the Laugh Factory and the Improv all the time, that's what I wanted to do.
So you're like, I'm
just going to do that.
And you've never done comedy before.
Never did it before. So I go to your
father.
I first of all, I go to
was he outside in the front in the kiosk?
No, this was the weird part.
Huh.
I think it might have been Chris D'Elia.
Okay.
Remember when he would work the front door
yeah.
back in the day? It may have been Chris or somebody else, but I went there and I asked for the owner. I didn't know your dad's name, nothing. And I'm like, can I speak to the owner, please? And I'm like, why am I asking? Because I didn't know that the owners don't book. You know what I mean? There's bookers, there's owners, there's managers, but I'm asking for the owner.
Yeah, like you're filing a complaint. Can I speak to the manager?
Right. But also in my world, I owned a small business, but I was not just the owner. I did everything.
Yeah.
So I figured that's how it was. But Dad comes out and I says, my name's Jason Collings. First of all, when your dad came out, he was like, who the fuck is this guy asking for me? You know what I mean? Like, well, he was literally like,
what is the problem?
I help you?
What's the problem?
Like, what do you? I was like, hey, I'm a friend of Joe Coy's and John Lovitz, and because literally I was with Joe Coy, John Lovitz, and Fraser Smith the night before, hanging out.
So you're now your friends.
No, so I was with them in Brea the night before, and then the next day I was like, I'm gonna go to your dad, and I asked for the owner. He comes out. I introduce myself. He introduces himself, but I'm like, hey, I'm Jason Collings, and he's kind of like, Jack, like what do you want?
Yeah.
You know,
especially you probably scared him because you're white.
Right. Well, he was in trouble.
He's like, something. Go. The health department's here. The health department's here.
IRS. So I said, yeah. Joe Coy sent me over. Said that he'd put me up. He goes, Joe Coy said that. I go, yeah. And he goes, when? I go, I was just with him and John Lovitz. I just name dropping in the most subtle, like not like overly, but just kind of like casually. Hey, me and John Lovitz, we were hanging out together. And I go, I've been doing stand up for about a year. No, I said I've been doing stand up for about 5 years.
Yeah.
And he said, really? I go, yeah. Never did stand up, dude.
Never.
So you're
not one show at all.
And he said, come back tomorrow. I'll put you up. I'm like, okay. Tomorrow was like a weekend show.
Yeah.
It was like and then they gave me the third spot.
Yeah.
They're like, you're going on third. You're doing 15
Sweet
minutes.
Spot. Yeah.
And then remember, God, what was his name? Sean Collins. He was running the night. He was hosting that night or something. And he said, I'm gonna give you the light at 12 minutes. And I was like, yep. I did not know what he meant. I was like, what does he mean by give me the light?
Give me the light.
I had no idea what the light was. Whenever I would go to the Improv to hang out with Joe, I would always sit in the back of the room and that red light would come on and it bugged me. I was like, why does that light keep coming on? I thought it was like something for the wait staff or something. You know what I mean? I didn't know what it was. So when he said, I'll give you a light at 12, I was like, yeah, fuck yeah, give me a light at 12. And I ended up doing 15 minutes. I saw him waving his phone.
Yeah.
And I was like, the hell is he waving his phone at me? Like, did I get a phone call? You know what I mean?
Yeah, phone call.
But then I was like, oh, that's the light. And I got off stage. And your dad said, come back tomorrow. You're on the show.
I still can't believe you went on stage like that for 12 minutes and
15
minutes, and you've never done it before. I remember the first time I did it, and I grew up in a comedy club. I was terrified. I was out there for maybe 2 minutes. 2 minutes. And I was like, so, hey, guys, hand in my pocket, looking down. And
right.
I ended up like crying when I got off stage. I was so nervous, you know?
It's heartbreaking when you don't do well. Here's the thing. I'm not pretending that, I did well because I was awesome when no. I feel like the only reason I did well is because I didn't fucking know any better.
Yeah.
Like, ignorance is almost bliss. It's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like what I didn't know wasn't going to hurt me. In other words, all the stuff that I really didn't know about comedy, I didn't know it. So I wasn't nervous. I wasn't anything. And what I did for a living is I ran, I taught 4 to 5 classes a day, and every single class was full. And a lot of them were kids. And so I already knew how to command a room full of people for an hour.
Yeah.
Keep their, especially children.
Yeah.
You can't have any lulls. You got to keep their attention and keep them happy and busy for an hour. And
those are your hecklers.
Those,
kids.
yeah. And I taught with humor.
Yeah. That's great.
That was the, and then I did well enough that he asked me to come back, and I was, next thing I know, I was like you remember, I was at the club.
You were almost there every day.
Yeah, I was there all the time.
Every single day. You, Brent Morin, Chris D'Elia.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly thought Brent, I didn't even know Brent Morin he was like my age.
Mm-hmm.
And he was hanging out with freaking you guys.
Yeah. He showed up one day.
He was like 16, and you guys were 30.
He was like 18 when we first met him.
Yeah.
I was 35. Chris was 25. 26.
I remember Chris with his little SUV. No, SUV. Had like a little
black Envoy.
Yeah.
SUV. Yeah, a little GM.
Yeah.
We, Chris and I became super close right in the beginning. And then like for the next 4 months, it was just like we were running around together and then like it was about 4 months in. For me, it was 4 months. For Chris, it was like almost a year. Because when I met Chris, he was my first day ever doing comedy. He was a 6-month comic. He had been doing it for 6 months. And then like 4 months after I started, Brent like wandered in. Like he literally was like,
he's a Will Burkhart.
And he came up to us at the bar at the original location.
Yeah.
And literally said, can I hang out with you guys? And we're like, yeah, stop being weird. You know what I mean? And then the 3 of us for the next 3 years.
I remember you guys were on almost every freaking weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Every freaking weekend. And I don't know, it was like you guys and like Frank Lucero or like Jeff Garcia, all that.
It started, your dad had to tell me, or your mom, she said, look, I kept doing every weekend and both days. Yeah. So finally she was like, I'm going to just have you one day.
Yeah.
If you do a Friday, I'll take Saturday off. And if you do this, because there was a bunch of other comics that wanted to get on.
But it's pretty crazy. How did you explain to because your family and all that? Like, hey, I'm a comedian now.
They thought I was crazy.
Yeah. Like
you think about it.
They think you're lying.
Well, they thought I was, my wife was not happy.
She was lying. She's like, he's lying. He's like, where the hell is he at?
She thought she was, first of all, imagine, your husband is got a decent, he makes a decent amount of money. He owns a successful business. And then all of a sudden at 35 years old, he says, I'm running away with the circus. What? They were just like, they thought it was selfish, which it is.
Yeah.
And as performers, we have to be like at a level, we have to be selfish.
Yeah.
We have to be we have to, you know what I mean? I mean, I'm probably not nearly as selfish as I was when I started.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was there. My family was like, what? And everybody was like, okay. The only one that was like, I shouldn't say the only one. My mom was very supportive, but she was nervous. She was worried because it's the entertainment world.
Yeah, totally.
My mom was part of that world forever because my dad was in the music industry and it's rough business. But my father was the one that was like, he saw me when he saw me do stand up for the first time. First of all, he passed away like a month after I started doing stand up.
No way. I'm so sorry.
But he was able to see me do it.
Yeah.
And he literally just went, that's what you're supposed to be doing. Don't stop. And
that's great.
Like, I'm not stopping.
And you kill it. And you got the Tonight Show. How long afterwards?
7 years.
That's crazy, man.
When I was a 7-year, I got the Tonight Show.
7 years you got the Tonight Show.
In that same year, I got the Tonight Show. I got Comic View on BET. I got invited and paid and flown out to do Just for Laughs, and I got my name on the wall at the Comedy Store all that 1 year.
And
2013 was the year.
And it all was from hanging out with Joe Coy that one night, and he said, "Go to the ha," and you just literally that's a huge accomplishment. For in 7 years to do that,
Yeah,
people don't do that for like 25 years, dude.
A lot of people don't, and the only person like Seinfeld did it in 5.
Oh, really?
I think if I'm right.
Wow.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
That's pretty amazing.
But yeah, I got a Tonight Show in 7 years, but then I sold my business.
Oh, you sold it?
Because I thought I made it.
When did you sell it?
When I got the Tonight Show.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I thought.
But what isn't yours and your brother's?
Store was the family's. Yeah.
Okay.
We sold it.
Oh, was it like your decision or was it a family decision?
Family decision, because my heart wasn't in it anymore. Because
you're like, yeah, fuck these kids.
Yeah, this was my dream, and now I'm doing it, and it was becoming because I owned the school of my first 7 years of doing stand up. I still worked every day at the school, and then came out every night to do stand up.
Are you still like? You're not good at that stuff anymore?
No, I'm amazing at it.
Oh, you are?
No, I'm not. It's not that I'm not. I've been doing this since I was 12.
Yeah.
And like solid from like 12 years old to 41 years old. I was training, fighting on my 30s and 20s and 30s. I was fighting, doing full contact stuff, doing jujitsu, all that stuff. And my body is just, I'm paying for it now.
You are?
Oh my God. You saw how I sat down.
You actually were, I remember you because you weren't fat, but you were bigger back then.
And here's why. Because right before I started stand-up, I had ACL replacement surgery.
Okay.
And there was complications, and my recovery was over a year. Like I had the first 6 months I couldn't walk.
Oh wow,
it was crazy, dude. It was messed up. Like I don't even have most of like pieces of my kneecaps missing. It's the whole thing.
You give it to your brother.
Yeah. But I was training so hard, but then when I couldn't train anymore, I kept eating like I was training. Because when you're training hard, you get hungry and you got to feed your muscles. And
yeah,
I just kept eating like I was training, but I wasn't training, and I just kind of blew up.
You look at pictures, it doesn't even look like you.
But when the first little while when I was hanging out with Joe at all the clubs, I was on crutches.
Oh really?
Yeah, I was hobbling into comedy stores on crutches when I was first in the comedy.
Also, you're like his Make a Wish. Hey,
yeah, Make a Wish.
Hey, go to the man.
Yeah.
Hey, get out of here, freaking one leg guy.
Yeah. And then Joe finally started introducing me. He started introducing me to comedians and saying stuff like, he's an aspiring comedian. And then I was like, oh, that's making it real. That's making it real. You know what I mean?
He's an aspiring comedian. Joe's the best. He's such a nice. I've known him since I was
a kid,
14 years old.
Yeah.
Hey, real quick, guys, make sure to check out Comedy Showcase app. You're in the Comedy Showcase app yet?
What is that?
It's basically an app where comics put their videos online and people can see new talent and all that, and then you get paid for every views.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, it's you gotta check it out. Comedy Showcase app. I know I'm on it. I get a nice little check. It comes in every now and then for my views.
Do you just upload yourself?
You send it to the app and they do it for you.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah, it's pretty great. It's great for new comics to get seen. You know, not everyone's as lucky as Jason Collins just showing up at a comedy club and getting a weekend spot. Make sure to check it out. Comedy Showcase app. I had a question for you. When you that process for the Tonight Show, tell me a little bit more about how that worked.
So I signed with a manager who I'm still with today. I signed with, I left. It was hard because I was really close friends with my old manager, and I had to fire her because this guy was like, I want to work with you. It was a step up. He goes, but I can't poach clients. So let me know when you're ready. And it was like, wink, wink.
Yeah.
So I had to make that phone call, fire her. Her and I are still great friends to this day, which is great. And then I went with him, and then he was able to get the booker of the Tonight Show at the time. And it was the LA one of the Leno. I was one of the last guys to do it and to come out and see me. And they did it amazing. They didn't tell me.
Oh, wow.
Which is great because there's no pressure.
No pressure.
So I was at the Comedy and Magic Club in Hermosa, and I did a great set. And you got to stay clean.
Yeah.
And I was working out a 5 because I wanted to get a late night.
Yeah.
Then I get a phone call from, I'm having one of those days where it's like I'm down on my career because, everything sounds great. 2013, I got the Tonight. Then when I sold my business, dude, I plateaued. All of a sudden, I'm like, oh shit, things aren't happening the way I thought they were going to happen. It just didn't go that way. So so don't think it was perfect because then it was like, I almost lost my house twice. It was a whole thing. But I'm having one of those bad days, right? And I was jogging and I came home and I'm sweating. I'm in my running clothes, and my son, who's my youngest, my 27-year-old, he was 18 at the time. He's there. And I walk in the house and I'm just having the worst day. And then my phone rings and it's my manager. And I was like, what bad news is this? You know what I mean? Hey, what's up? And he goes, can you do the Tonight Show today? I said, what?
Huh?
Today? He goes, yeah. I go, yeah. So I didn't know I was doing it until the day I did it.
So you didn't even prepare anything?
Well, I booked it, and then I didn't hear anything for 6 months. The booker hit me up. We had a conference call.
Was it Michael Cox?
No, it was the one before him.
Oh, okay.
And it wasn't like it is now, where there was like a board of people that have to use this one booker. He said, you're in, boom. We had a conference call, and the guy, I answered the phone. He goes, hey, I just want you to know you're the best manager in the business. And I go, what do you mean? He goes, you just booked it. You're on the books for the Tonight Show.
Who's his manager?
My manager.
Oh, you can't plug him?
Oh, and Josh Lieberman, 3 hours.
Cool.
Yeah,
Nice.
Josh Lieberman, 3 hours.
There you go. I was like, cool.
What?
I was like, yeah, Josh Lieberman. Okay, cool.
Josh Lieberman, 3 hours. And he booked it. Good job. He goes, as soon as we slots opening up, we're gonna hit you up and we'll get you in here. Boom.
And it was the day of.
No, that was 6 months.
He called you the day of, and you weren't prepared.
Well, the thing is, I didn't hear anything for 6 months after I booked it. So I'm calling my manager. I was like, what's going on? He goes, honestly, man, it might go away. It might not be happening. They're moving the show to New York. It's the whole Fallon thing. And I'm like, he goes, don't worry, though. We'll go somewhere else or try to go to Conan or something. I'm like, okay. So then I was like, all right, I guess I'm not doing it. But for that 6 months, I was running my set every day.
Oh, okay. So you were working it.
I was working on it. Because I knew I booked it.
Yeah.
I just was like, and I better be ready when the phone call comes. Came once, and then they're like, never mind. Not gonna happen. I'm like, okay. And so then finally, like 6 months later or whatever it was, I get that phone call, and I'm like, he's like, what are you doing? Can you do the Tonight Show today? I was like, what? Yeah.
Yeah.
He goes, well, good, because the car's picking you up in 45 minutes.
Wow.
So I told my son, I go, you want to go to the Tonight Show? He's like, well, yeah.
Well, you on it?
So I just jumped in the shower. Car picked us up. We went there. You have to understand, the whole time in the drive there, I'm still not sure if I'm doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like you get on hold, and then they'll let it. Then you're not doing it. You know. Yeah. And so I was like, who knows? I get to the Tonight Show. I get to the studio, and I go, am I doing it? They're like, oh yeah, you're on today. Don't worry, you're on today. I'm like, oh, and I still wasn't sure, because by then I'm like, I learned that everything's.
It's too good to be true.
Everything's too good to be true in this business. And I'm like, all right. So I mean, like literally there, and I have my own dressing room, and I'm still like, I wonder if I'm doing this today.
How was Jay Leno, right?
Yeah, he was great.
He was great.
He shows up.
Did he give you any advice before?
Oh man, it was so cool. He shows up early, and he's in his denim tuxedo, and he walks up and he goes, "Hey, Don, Jay Leno, nice to meet you, Jason Collings." He goes, "Hey man, I know you excited?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Don't be nervous." He goes, "You're here for a reason. You're supposed to be here. You're here because you earned it." And blah blah blah. And he goes, "Hey, and if you screw up, we can do it. We can do it again."
Oh really?
He's like, I was like, just brought so much ease, and I'm like, oh cool. And then the producer walks in and he said, "Did you show Jason his mark on stage?" He goes, "Oh no, sorry, I'll do it right now." And Jay's like, "No, I'll do it." So Leno took me out onto the set, showed me my spot. No one's there. The lights are still down. And he literally is like, "Yeah, that's where you're going to stand. Don't go too far that way. Don't go too far that way." So anyways, man, how's comedy going? How's the comedy store? And he just wanted to talk comedy.
That's great.
Because he's a stand-up.
Yeah.
Because he's still doing stand-up.
He's still doing stand-up.
When they closed up Comedy Magic, he's at Flappers.
He's at Flappers, yeah.
And so he made me just at ease, man. And I'm standing behind the curtain right before Jason Collings, and you walk out, and the stage producer, she's standing next to me. She's like, "Are you nervous?" And I just looked at her. I go, "No."
Yeah.
I had this like overwhelming feeling like this is exactly where I'm supposed to be right now. And I walked out, and in 4.5 minutes, I got 6 applause breaks.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
4.5 minutes. Joe Coy called me crying the next day.
Oh, no way.
Because he was so proud. He's like, that set was, man, it was really cool.
That's like a full circle thing.
Really cool. Yeah, man, it was dope. And then,
Okay, I have one more question to ask you. This is Comedy Club Confessions. Is there anyone that treated you badly? I mean, because these are all great stories, but this business is really cutthroat and really, people are kind of screwed up. Is anyone that, to this day maybe?
Yeah. It's rough because I perform there all the time. Jamie Masada.
Yeah.
He doesn't like me.
He doesn't like you?
Mm-mm.
Why?
I don't know. He doesn't know me.
Really?
But there's been a few things in the past that he didn't like. I got the best story, dude.
What?
Okay.
We have time for that? Yeah,
I just found this out last week.
Oh my God.
Okay. I just found this out last week. So as you know, I have an identical twin brother.
Yeah.
My brother is hard of hearing in one ear. He's got pretty bad hearing loss in one
Yeah.
ear. And so sometimes if you're on that side and you say, hey, Dave, he won't even acknowledge you. But he's not being a jerk.
He just can't hear you.
Just hear you. And he's not in the comedy business, so he doesn't know who people are or anything like that. He walked into the Laugh Factory one night and Jamie Masada said hi, thinking it was me. And my brother just kept it moving. And Jamie was like,
Oh, wow.
This dude just walks in like he owns the place and then ignored me. He's out.
Oh, really?
And they were like, dude, that was his brother. And he was like, no.
Nobody.
Didn't want to hear it. That's the story I heard. I'm not saying that's true, but that's the story I heard. And then
were you there?
No.
Or your brother just went to watch the show?
Yeah, he's friends with a bunch of other comics, so he went to go check it out. And maybe he had a girl, and he was like that's a lot of times that's what he likes to do on it. He's like, yeah, I think we're gonna go to the Laugh Factory.
You guys are pretty identical.
Yeah, and back then, this apparently this was like 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious that I only found out about this last week. I've never heard that story.
This whole time he's like, this guy doesn't like me because of my brother.
Yeah. But it's not, and I don't, but I still perform there all the time.
Yeah.
You know, I'm at Long Beach a lot. But I do like the outside promoter shows. I just did Chocolate Sunday last night, and I'll do Ruby Tuesdays.
Did you ever do that wait in line open mic thing for them?
No.
Yeah, me neither.
No, Joe Coy got me my first spot there.
I don't know. I honestly, I just started working there. I never auditioned or anything. People go, Jamie's seen you a tape of you. I'm like, I don't know, maybe, hopefully. I mean, I performed all the time, but I've never done that whole thing.
Yeah,
I've never met Jamie personally.
Joe got me on back in the day. Benny Mena was running Latino Night there.
Oh, really?
And Joe got me an 8-minute spot on his show that just so happened to be his birthday show. So it was packed to the rafters. No, it was Benny's birthday.
Oh, Benny's birthday.
But Joe got me an 8-minute spot on the show.
Oh, okay.
And so not only was it Latino Night back then was fire too.
Yeah.
And then it was the host's birthday. So there's a line down the street and around the corner. It was fire. And I did really well there. It's an interesting story. I've never told this story on a podcast, but I'm going to tell it. Fuck it.
All right.
We allowed to fucking swear?
We're allowed to fucking swear.
Okay, cool.
Fuck yeah. Fuck.
Got the thumbs up on saying the fucks. So I got the thumbs up on the fucks. So I do that show with Benny. I have a great set. I'm like, get off stage and I'm dizzy. I want to pass out. I'm so excited. And Joe was like, that was great, blah, blah, blah. Cool. So then I'm at work teaching martial arts to a bunch of kids, and I get a phone call, and my cell phone on BlackBerry back then says it's the Laugh Factory calling me. I was like, what? So I answered the phone. Hello? Jamie's assistant says, hi, Jason. I was like, yeah. She goes, we're really happy with what you did the other night, and Jamie would like you to come do the show Saturday night. I go, really? Okay. She goes, you're just going to be opening for Dane Cook. And it was back when Dane was Dane. That was his house. That was his home, you know. I go, really? And, you know, I was a fan of his. So I'm like, this is amazing, right?
Really? I want to get front row tickets.
So I get there, and I thought maybe I was emceeing. No, I was featured. It was 3 men. It was a host, me, and Dane.
Wow.
And it was packed because it was Dane time.
Yeah.
It was his days, you know. And I get up, and I immediately start doing well. Immediately. And thing is, a lot of comics have to realize is when they're there to see one of their favorite comedians, they're already happy.
Yeah.
That's why it's so easy opening for Russell. It's so easy opening for because they're already happy and they've paid an arm and a leg for the ticket.
Like we're having fun.
Yeah, they are. We're laughing at everything. So I get up there and I'm murdering. Then all of a sudden the light starts flashing. They're like flashing the light on me, and I don't want to get in bad standing. So I'm like, all right, guys, I got to get going. And when I said that, audience was like, no, come on, stay. And I was like, oh, that's so nice. But you guys know who you came here to see. Thank you guys so much. I'm Jason Collings.
Yeah.
Get off stage. I go to the back stairs that go up by where the bathrooms are.
Yeah.
I go to the stairs to walk up, and I look up at the top of the stairs. Dane is standing at the top of the stairs looking down at me like the king of the castle with his arms crossed like this. And I'm like, oh. So I walk up, and I'm like, hey, and he goes like this. He goes, good set. I was like, oh, dude, you have no idea what that means coming from you. Thank you so much. Then I pass him. He goes downstairs to go up, and then I go into the lounge, and Jamie's in there, and he goes, buddy, thank you so much. Thanked me.
Wow.
And I was like, thank you. This was a huge opportunity. This is my dream to perform here. I mean, I watched Joe there, and I'm like, this is what I want to do.
And how many years in are you in right now?
At that point, probably like 5.
Wow, man.
Years? No, it could have been sooner than that. No, it was about 5 years in. 4 or 5 years in. So then Jamie's that way, and he's like thanking me, and it was wonderful. And I'm like, dude, I'm in. I am in
You're
the
in
Laugh
Hollywood,
Factory.
yeah.
So then the following Tuesday, I'm like, I'm gonna go because Jay Davis had his show there every Tuesday before he moved it to the Parlor. It was called The Life, the Party with Jay Davis, and it was every Tuesday at Laugh Factory, and it was like paparazzi out front, packed. Dane was on all the shows, and the way you got on that show is you get to do the cold open spot, and like that's how Chris got in. Like he cold opened Jay's show and ripped it, and so I'm like, I'm gonna go hang out at that show. I can hang out at the Laugh Factory now.
Yeah,
I just got.
Passed by freaking Dane Cook and
everybody.
So
when I walk in, it's packed. All the staff are like, "Oh, what's up, dude? That was a great set the other night." I'm getting so much love.
Yeah.
Then I walk up to Jamie Masada, and I go to shake his hand. Hey, man, how are you? And he looked at my hand, and goes, "It's just not there for me anymore, buddy."
Why?
And walked away, and I didn't get booked there for another 5 years.
Because of your dad? Because your brother?
No. This was the other thing I heard. Back in those days, I guess the doing well in front of Dane was not a good idea.
Because Dane. That's what.
And I'm saying that's what I've heard. I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm just saying that's what I heard.
So you made Dane work, basically, and that's
which is ridiculous because he didn't have to, dude.
Yeah, Dane was Dane.
Dane showed up and they were happy. He's still that way.
Well, I heard stories like that about like how Dane would accuse comics of like I just what I heard from other comics how he would steal like their his essence.
That's his word he used. Yeah,
like the whole like Steve Byrne had a hard time. Like Dane Cook gave him. They had the same manager. I don't know, something like that. I don't know.
There was a lot of that. But yeah, I didn't get.
That's crazy.
I didn't get put up there for the next few years. And then there was a girl that was running Latino Night that apparently had a crush on me, and she was booking me every Monday. And then Jamie got mad, and he thought it was me going over his head to her.
Oh my God!
And it was like all these misunderstandings and miscommunications. By the way, from a guy who had no idea. I don't know how the business works back then.
Yeah,
I am brand new. I'm still technically at open micer level.
You're a black belt comedian,
right? But I'm thinking about it. I'm technically at open mic level. I don't know anything. I just know how to be funny. I just know how to be funny. So asking someone that I thought was in charge to do their show, I wasn't trying to be shitty or anything like that. Like George Perez.
Yeah,
me and him are boys. That's my guy. Yeah. But we had a rough start.
Yeah,
because they were doing a show in Long Beach, and I lived in Long Beach, and again I didn't know the rules, and I went to the show, and the manager of they gave me a spot, and then the manager of the restaurant the venue hit me up and was like,
"Hey, you want to do a show?
We want you to come back." It's like, okay, and when someone that runs the building that the thing is, and I think they're the ones in charge.
Yeah.
Nobody told me any different.
Yeah.
So I go there, and then George was like, "Yo, you don't go over our head on this." I was like, "Yo, she called me." Yeah. And she had a little bit of crush on me.
Yeah. I mean, you were a fucking handsome dude. I
was not bad looking back in the day. And then the other booker had a thing for her, and it wasn't cool. But yeah, him and I didn't get off to a good start. But now we're like, that's my guy. Every time I see him, it's like hugs, and you know what I mean. Like we're cool as hell now. Yeah.
Hey, can you come back and do another podcast so we can talk more? Is that cool?
Yeah. Dude, are we done?
Yeah, we're done. I just do 30 or 35 minute episodes.
Let's do an hour.
And then no, we're gonna come back and do another episode and talk more about stories like this. I love this episode. This is like some real stuff. Comedy Club Confessions.
I love it.
You guys, please subscribe and follow Jason Collings at where?
On Instagram, it's just at Jason Collings, JasonCollings.
And where are you going to be at? This is coming out next week.
This is coming out next week. Next week, I will be in Pittsburgh. I will be in Philly. I will be in Addison. Yeah.
Where can they get tickets at? JasonCollings.com?
JasonCollings.com.
That's Collings with the INGS. INGS.
Yes.
Jack Jr., me, I'm on the road too. I'll be in Las Vegas. I'm doing Carnival Cruise, Norwegian Cruise coming up soon. I'll take it at jackjrcomedy.com. Please go check out the Comedy Showcase app. And thank you for listening to Comedy Club Confessions.
Comedy Club Confessions.
Thanks.
Let's do it.